everybody. I am back with a Parenting as a Joke snack. I'm here with the very funny Robby Slowik. He's got a little kid at home and another on the way. His partner, wife, baby mama is stand-up comedian Casey Balsham, who was on the pod last week. So I thought I would pepper him with some of the same questions I asked her. Again, not to compare, just fun to have this opportunity to see both sides of because some often I just get the one person in a relationship that is talking about how they're doing it with the kids. So now I get both sides. Okay, Robbie,
Yes.
thanks for doing this. So I could be like Casey said, if I could remember. But this is one that I really want to ask you because I only have one kid. I'm not
Mhm.
going to have another kid. You have a do over on the way.
Uh-huh.
Not to say your first kid isn't great, but there's
Uh-huh.
probably something in your mind from
That
just the maiden voyage of dealing with
Uh-huh.
this shit that you're like, we are doing that differently with this kid.
Mhm.
What are you thinking?
Well, the biggest one is it's mostly Casey's thing is breastfeeding.
Yeah,
Like,
I just want to let you know, ding, she said that too.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's the thing that Casey is trying to, like, decide if we want it, and she asked me, she's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I try to be like, "This is your body, your choice," like, whatever you
Good
want
man.
to do what you wanna do. I think it feels, like, unfair to me a little bit that, like, the one got to breastfeed and if the other one didn't, but again, I'm like, "Who cares? They're not gonna know ultimately," so you
They're not gonna know.
do what you wanna do. My real fear is that, like, it's less about what do you wanna do differently and more about, like, Goldie, our daughter is, like, she's freakishly cute, and I'm just, like, horrified that the other one might not be, like, but and then I won't know how to handle that if we have a cute one and an ugly one. If you have just an ugly
You're
one, then it's fine.
hilarious.
I just don't I'm worried about that.
What if it's an upgrade? What if it's you're like, I cannot believe how much cuter now this kid is putting Goldie in the shadows.
It just seems so unlikely. It seems unlikely. It's not impossible, but I'm bracing myself for like, it's like when people are like, "Oh my god, she's so cute." And what if the new one people are just like, "Oh, a baby,"
A
like I
bit.
can't yeah.
How do you feel, about the travel? Like you obviously with one, it is one little one where you're traveling all around all these
Yeah.
different countries in the beginning of her life and managing it. But I mean, just logistically, it is harder with two.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so much harder with 2. Yeah, frankly, we're just gonna have to do less of it. I mean, I just don't see a way where we can do it, especially up until they're 2, they fly for free. So,
I know.
yeah, we have 1
And
more
then after
month.
that, you got to make them service babies.
Yeah, that's right, you gotta put a little vest on them. Do not pet the baby. This is a service baby for my anxiety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As it's screaming. Nobody I think is great at this, but are you a planner? Like, are you thinking a year from now and sort of, or does that something you do to keep yourself up at night? Just high anxiety.
Something I do when I have a job, I'm like, "A year from now, we can do this, and then we can look for a down payment on a blah, blah, blah." And then when I don't have, like, a steady income, like, as of next week, then I'm like, I don't know. We're living day to day.
Right.
Don't
We're just
ask me
gonna figure
questions.
it out. Like,
Let's figure it
yeah,
out."
everyone
Yeah.
just put your foot on the gas and go.
Yes, 100%.
What is the last thing with your 2-year-old you said no to her about?
Oh, if you're almost nothing. I am I am so useless, like, I can't and Casey, she gets so fucking mad at me because I bought, like, this bag of just it's like Lucky Charms, just the marshmallows,
Oh my
uh,
god. Okay,
and
it's the part you always wanted. You were like,
yes,
"Why is other
exactly.
crap in here?"
What is this stuff? Yeah, what is this cardboard? Give me the marshmallows. And so every morning, like Goldie, like wakes up, she takes my hand. It's adorable, and she pulls me to them, and then she basically hands them to me, and is like, "Give me these." And Casey is like, "You can't start her off with sugar. If she has sugar first thing in the morning, it's all she'll want all day." And then so I like will try to kind of like quietly like open the bag and hand her a couple, and Casey like from dead sleep is like, "Are you giving her the Lucky Charms marshmallows?" I can't. I don't say no to her.
You're a problem.
I am a
Robbie,
problem.
you're a problem.
I am a problem. Yeah.
Do you also just buy her little things all the time?
All the time.
All the
All
t
the
oh
time.
my god.
It's like I just if we live across from a CVS, so it's
Yeah.
like I have
Oh god.
sometimes I
Mecca.
have to yes, I have to go in and get whatever, something, cough drops, and like there's a bunch of Beanie Babies there, and it's like she's just always going to leave with a different one that becomes trash as soon as we walk into the house.
Yeah,
She's so interested in it in CVS
of
and could
course.
not be less interested in it the second we get home.
Yeah.
it's just like it's like the tax for bringing her out with you.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
just constantly having to deal with that. Okay.
but now
You're a
she's like,
soft touch, huh?
oh, too soft. Yeah. We got like a mirror that's a full body mirror on the wall that's like heavy that she started like pulling, and
Oh god.
if it falls on her, it will kill her, like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
No,
And
that's real.
so we like this is one of the things where I'm like, Goldie, no, it's danger. Casey will take a much firmer like tone with me, like, no. And I don't like, I'm just like, Goldie, no, we don't do this. It's danger. But for both of us, she just like she refuses to accept no. It's like she doesn't, she's laughing. Like when Casey gets stern, I'm like, oh, this is gonna make her cry. She's gonna and like she just laughs and continues to try to pull the mirror off the wall.
It's like, I mean, that is very too, like, I mean, but
Yeah.
also my kid was like that too, immediately, like, just figured out that he ruled. There
Yeah,
was no way that we were ever gonna truly
totally.
stop him from doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have the agency, we didn't have the wherewithal, we just didn't know how.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other thing is you really don't know how. It kinda look the '50s kinda made sense where it's like, I guess I gotta put my cigarette out and hit this child, you know? But, like, we're not doing that anymore. It's
Go
much
ahead.
harder to be, like, conceptually like, "Now I know you don't know words, but if the mirror falls, it will hurt you." Like, you just can't do it. It's truly easier to be like, "I'm just gonna hit you, and maybe you won't
Right,
do this
and you'll
anymore."
run away crying and
Yeah.
hate me for the rest of your life, but that
Yes.
mirror.
That mirror will be right where I hung it. Yeah.
Okay, just thinking you were talking about in the main episode that just aired that, you moved around a lot as a kid, that your father was nomadic.
Mhm.
And without getting into it, I feel like the way you describe it, like maybe not the father figure you are idolizing right now when you're thinking about how you would like to be as a parent.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good dude and he did a good enough job. But yeah, I think we'll have different styles for sure. I mean, it is do you know Asher Perlman and you know his like cartoons at all?
No,
Okay.
sorry.
No, no worries.
Okay.
He writes for Colbert and he's an improviser and he's fantastic, but he also does New Yorker cartoons that are
Oh, okay. I'm sure
uh
I'm sure
yeah.
I read the New Yorker,
Yeah.
everybody. They
Oh, of
just I
course you
mean, they
do.
stack up in the corner and then occasionally I just take a chunk to recycling, but I
Yeah.
read them.
I donate them to the jack off room at the IVF clinic just in case anyone's trying to have a smart baby. Uh
The book reviews really
y-
takes me over the edge.
Yeah, that's right. But I can't even like now fully remember it, but the cartoon is basically like a dad talking to his son that's now I'm going to do all of the opposite things of the way I was raised to try to overcorrect and then you'll do the opposite in some cosmic, ping pong back and forth
Exactly.
forever. And so it's that, right? Like whereas I think my dad is very much like I want you to be this stuff, so I'm going to try to make you the thing I want you to be. I'm like I want my babies to discover who they are, and then I want to empower them to be that. And that's what I want to do. And I'm sure in my mind it sounds great, and it probably is great at first. And then eventually they'll be like 29 and be like, I wish you could have given me some fucking guidance. So it's like there's no way to get it just right, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wish in hindsight, I had a very laissez because I'm the youngest of 6. I had a very
Oh wow.
laissez-faire parenting style on me. I kinda did whatever I want. I had a lot of freedom. I could go out late. Like, I really did not have a lot and so I learned how to keep it together a
Yeah.
little bit. And I kinda wish in hindsight when I hear like, oh, people tour with their kids to go to universities or they were very involved in making sure they, I don't know, played violin or did well in school. I'm like, "Oh, maybe I would've
That's the
had more
thing,
of an
right?
opportunity, instead of just figuring this all out haphazardly myself."
It's always that grass is greener thing. So there's just no way to get it right. I mean, you literally, I've told you this before, you have one of my favorite jokes of all time, which I like sincerely, which is crazy because we're around 1,000 people who tell 1,000 jokes all the time. So to like have one that's like it's so the one about saying you're worried you're gonna mess up your kid and the psychiatrist being like, oh, they're so resilient at this
Resilient.
age. Yeah. And you're like, well then why how come every time I say something you say it's my parents' fault?
Yeah,
And you're like,
exactly. Why am
it's
I always talking to you about my parents? Right. Oh,
such a
thank you.
brilliant observation, and it's so true and so fun, and kinda like and to some degree, it, like, kinda cuts the legs out of therapy a little bit because that is true, like, they are like, "Here's what you need to hear," and you're like, "But that is directly at odds with what you've been
But
telling
they're
me."
all it's all at odds. I've
Yeah.
learned actually over the years of, oh, that's like the one that's why the drugs got involved. You'd
Yes.
actually think after they, that's like the little conspiracy theory of the entire therapeutic industry. And once they were like, oh, by the way, there's Zoloft and Prozac and whatever, whatever, that should be the moment where you're like, oh,
Oh,
well, I guess I don't need you
yeah,
anymore.
I guess I'm done doing the work.
It's like Ozempic. It's like, you think those people are still
Yeah,
employing the,
yeah,
Weight Watchers is going away, my
yeah,
friends.
totally. Yeah. I think that's so funny when people say like, "Well, the drugs, you still need to do the work." And you're like, "But do you?"
No,
Because
no,
yeah, yeah,
I'm squashing the work with this inhibitor.
that's right. Yeah.
No need. So what with your 2-year-old, I mean, I remember loving some of the play and just hating some of the play. And also, that's like a thing. I don't know if your parents ever played with you as a kid. That was not part of my upbringing.
Okay. Yeah. I think my parents definitely did.
Okay.
I was the youngest of 3 as well, so I can relate to a like I had very few like rules and stuff on me as well. Like I didn't have like curfews and that type of stuff. They were like by the time they got to me, 6 I can't even imagine. By
Yeah,
the time
just
they got to you.
they did
Uh
not care.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why I have a microphone in front of my face.
Yeah, same. Uh yeah. Wait, what was the
Well,
original
did
question?
did did you guys like, did your mom play, I don't know, did you guys
Yes.
play backgammon or
Oh, yes.
checkers or drawing or something? I don't know.
Yes. There's this funny thing that like now you try to I think about it as like being the youngest of like I'm not like super competitive in anything and it's like, "Oh, cuz you couldn't I can't beat anyone in this household
Oh,
at anything."
god, me too.
Yeah. You're like, "My sister's 8, I'm 4. I'm not gonna win this game of checkers," Like, it's just not and then so this is one of those things that drives me nuts, where it's like, you watch, like, a documentary on, like, Michael Jordan, and they're just like, "This guy's obsessed with winning. He's gotta win. He lives to win." It's like, because he's better than everyone and has been
Because
his
he's
entire
better.
life. So he wins. He's not used to not winning? So if he doesn't win, that fucking pisses him off. But
Yeah,
that was not my experience. I'm used to losing? Like I
me
didn't
too.
grow up
I've
winning. So when I don't win, I'm not like, what? I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
that tracks.
Yeah.
I know. It's so funny, like, I play with my son, he's obsessed with winning,
Yeah.
and I'm a little bit like, "I've never won a game of Monopoly ever."
Ever. Yeah. Technically no one has.
No one has. It's very lonely.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so that's interesting. So, right, and are you close with your, older siblings?
Yes, yeah, my sister is 4 years older than me. My brother was 13 years older than me. He passed away a few years ago, but we were all close. We we
Yeah.
we really did have a good relationships, and because my brother being 13 years older than me, I only lived with him in that same house till I was like 5, but he always
Yep.
made such an effort. He's like, if you're 6 kids, then you probably have a big split between you
Oh,
and the
yeah,
oldest,
there
right?
was 2 my older siblings had kids basically before I was born and right after I was born, so
Yeah,
they were in totally different worlds.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your relationship like with them? Were you like another
V
kid to them or
very I mean, I played with their kids, so
Yeah,
we had a totally different
yeah,
yeah. We didn't have much of a relationship. I can't
right,
like, one of them has passed as well, but and I have called my older brother before to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" But the idea of that is
right.
insane.
Got it. Yeah. So my brother was really 13 years is like he definitely wasn't at the age of like having kids when I was a baby. So he was always kind of had a not father figure because he was an idiot. I loved it. I love him. I do love him, but he's not like he wasn't like the paternal type, but
Right.
like he was like a fun uncle in some ways. Like he was definitely older and cared for me in that way. Yeah.
Now, okay, so when you are with your two-year-old girl, are you playing is she wanting you to draw with her all the time, make up stories?
She is wanting me to do 1,000 things for 7 seconds at a time. So it's like, "Oh, let's read." She'll bring me a book. I'm be like, "Awesome, let's read this book." And then I get 2 pages in and she rips it from my hands. "Get this shit out of here. This sucks. I wanna do this thing now." And it's like so I'm just like the house at the end of the day is just like once she goes to bed, we clean it, like, we reset it every night. But
Yes.
in the daytime, it is just it's like a tornado. I mean, like, because she's pulled out everything. She just loves knocking shit over, like
Yeah.
so she's just hit the age where I can do like horsey rides, but I've just hit the age where I'm aging out of horsey rides, because we're
Exactly.
supposed to have kids in our 20s, not our 40s.
My 9-year-old climbed on my back yesterday, and then he, like, wanted me I don't know, whatever way he pulled me, he wanted me to, like, literally backbend, and I was like, "Human bodies don't do"
They do
like,
not do this.
I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god, this is like I broke my mother's back." Like, now I know
Yeah.
where that comes from.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Is there a thing where you sit with her on the whatever, I'm creating a thing.
Uh-huh.
You're in the room, you're sitting on the carpet because we all sit on carpets with our kids.
Yes.
They're not allowed to be anywhere high because 'cause they'll fall all over the place.
Uh-huh.
And is there anything where you're, like, looking at the clock going, "Okay, we're just gonna do this for 10 more minutes, and then I'm outta here."
Oh, I would say, and I feel like that's my approach to life. That's everything. That's when I'm in a job or even on stage or whatever, I'm just like, "There's 6 minutes
To
left,
talk.
and then I can be done with this."
I know, I forget. Someone used to have a joke about, like, reaching an age where the second they get up, they're wondering when they can get back to
When
bed.
can I go back to bed? Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I will say this. As someone who was ambivalent to having kids, it's like I was genuinely shocked by like, oh, this has unlocked a type of joy in my life that I did not know existed, a type of feeling I did not know existed, and I get to experience it every single day. It's really shocking and amazing. I have not felt this way about anything else. I don't imagine I ever will. And it really, so even that stuff where you're like, fuck, I cannot listen to Baby Shark one
One
more
more
time.
time.
But then you like see her doing the little shark dance and you're like, God damn it. It's cute. Like,
Wild.
yeah, yeah.
Do you judge other parents on anything? I will say before I make you answer that because you might feel, I don't know, a little bit of hesitation. I judge other parents and it is a moving target
Uh
because
huh.
everything I judge them on that I think maybe and I'm terrible. I've screwed up so many things, but I judged on screen time. I've definitely walked back on that. I judged on bedtimes.
Yeah. I think I've always been pretty good at being like, look, whatever works for you, do it. The only thing I really judge is like if someone is like letting their kid be like full feral in a public space to the point where it's like fucking with other people's like good time or whatever. But like outside of that, you know what
Give
I'm
me that
saying?
scenario. Give me that scenario.
On a like I've always even when I was younger, I was like, if you have to fly with a little kid, like I
Yeah.
feel for you because that seems really hard and they don't fully understand the situation. I'm never if a baby is crying on a flight, I'm never like, shut that baby. I've never cared ever. I get that we live in a community, blah, 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 blah. But if you have a 4-year-old and you're sitting in your seat while they're running up and down the aisles, like slapping chairs,
Yeah.
because you don't have to deal with them for 5 minutes, that's unacceptable to me. Like, you have to, you don't make it other people's problems, I guess.
Okay, so you're just like, you have to engage. I don't care what's going on with your kid, but you gotta be there.
You gotta be there. You can't just make your kid other people's problem, you know? It is your problem, and you have to deal with it. Now deal with it however you feel like is best. I don't care if you yell or scream or try gentle parenting or whatever, just don't make me deal with your thing.
Have you had a moment in public where Goldie has done something in particular that is normal and age appropriate, but you felt shame having trying to deal with it?
She insists on wearing a MAGA hat outside of the house. I don't know why. I don't know where she picked that up, but she's just very into Doge. She just thinks the government is not efficient. Yeah,
That's a hard one. That's a
yeah,
hard
it's a
one
tough one. It's a tough one.
in these Astoria
Yeah,
circles.
yeah. No, not really. She's been, like, too young for anything like that. There are some times when she's also only now hitting that 2-year-old tantrum meltdown thing that
With
it's
the
ki
lungs, all of a sudden you're like,
yeah.
you have good lung
Oh, yeah,
capacity.
you can really yell. So, I haven't run into much of that yet, thankfully, but I think it's, right around the corner.
As I rub my hands,
Yeah.
looking forward. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I've dragged my kid out of stores screaming and crying a couple times, and it was mortifying.
Yeah.
But nobody cared. I can't think of one person went home from that Walmart and was like, "You know what happened to me today?" Like,
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I used to have a joke about this, like before I was a parent, about like watching a dad like drag a toddler out of CVS and being like, "You're making a scene." It's like that kid doesn't know any. He's 3. He doesn't understand capitalism and the store and why he can't have the thing. Like you brought him here, dude. This is on you. This is your fault. This kid is melting down because you brought him to this hell that we live in.
Although I will say that in grocery stores, when in the soup section, they're also like, "And stuffies." I'm like, "What are you
Wh-
doing to me
Yeah,
right now?
dude.
What are you doing?"
Our building where we live, like, they have a big thing of those, like, Dum Dum lollipops in a
Oh
jar as you
god.
walk in and walk out, and you're like, "Now it's a fight." Every single time I come home with the baby or leave with the baby, I am now in a fight because she wants a lollipop every single time. Why wouldn't she? Just keep them behind the counter,
I know.
we can ask for them. Put up a sign.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
put up a sign. that your kid won't be able to read for a while, so you can say, like, "It says no lollipops today."
Exactly. Yes.
And then one day they'll be like, "I've been lied to."
Yeah.
In closing,
Yes.
so I was listening to you on a couple podcasts
Mhm.
to prepare, and I did not know this about you, and I'm sorry that I did not notice, but you are very intentional with the clothing you buy and your style.
Yeah, isn't that so fantastic that I can be so intentional and then people are like, "And I did not notice at all. I
Well,
never."
I
But
will say
that's kind
this,
of by design.
I do notice there are a couple male stand-up comics out there. I can't think of a female, but I'm sure I could find one. But there's a couple male stand-up comics that I do wanna take aside and go, "You don't know how to dress. I gotta help you because you just don't get it, and this is not okay."
They could use that service. I think you should just do it over help them. Yes, it's a new thing in my life, honestly. Like, it's a new thing in my life being, like, so intentional about the way I dress and the clothes I wear, but it's been a fun outlet for me as someone who never used to care about that stuff.
So in summary, you used a term that I wasn't familiar with. Heritage, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, heritage wear,
Heritage.
which is like it's kind of like classically made clothes made in either like North America or Japan or and some parts of Western Europe, where the point to me is like once I started to make some type of like, enough money where I could afford to do this, I was like, "Oh, I can eliminate like slave labor from my clothing." Like
Right.
I can not only do I like the quality and the way the stuff looks, but I know it wasn't made in some fast fashion place in Bangladesh that might like burn down, you know?
Or that's basically plastic that has been reformatted into some sort of fabric.
Yes. So everything is you start to learn about, oh, this is from this specific mill, like, Vidalia Mills. And so now you suddenly get really deep into this stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like I'm lucky to be able to do it.
So that's for you, and I understand it comes at a cost, and it's probably somewhat luxury to
Uh-huh.
it, even though this is the way it goes. What's luxury? Oh, the place that doesn't use child labor and is using sustainable fabrics.
Totally.
That is not accessible to most people. But little kids, oh my God, the Gap
Yeah.
clothing, the wipes, the diapers. Are you freaking out about that? Or you just, you know what? You got to do what you got to do.
I'm just not. I'm really not. It's just kind of like, yeah, exactly. You got to do what you got to do. And so much of this stuff is, it's a concern. Okay, now you're getting into this whole other side of me, but it's a concerted effort by corporations to make you feel like you have a personal responsibility in this, whereas every person in the world joint together could not even put up a percentage of the waste that the corporations are putting up. And
Oh,
so they
speaking my language.
like, then you probably know that, like, it was the gas companies came up with the idea of a carbon footprint, and they were like, "Let's make people feel like they should bear the brunt of the if they turn the lights off at night, that will make a difference, and then we will continue destroying the earth while they think it's their fault."
I've always thought, why doesn't Times Square turn off the lights for 25 minutes a day?
I have some pretty good guesses as to why. Vera.
But if you wanted to make a statement
Yeah.
on energy consumption,
Mhm. I
like,
think what the
yeah.
problem is you're gonna turn the lights back on, and you're gonna see an Elmo getting a blowjob from the naked cowboy.
I'm just saying you could do it at 6 a.m. But yes,
Okay.
no, I hear you on this. And I'm very much like, I hear you exactly. And very recently, there was a no consumption Friday that
Mhm.
people were doing where it's don't buy off Amazon,
Yeah, yeah.
and if you have a child, you are Amazon. I didn't want it to be my super best friend, but it is because you are solving problems and nothing feels like a dopamine hit than going, what? We need that? I'm on it.
Done, I'll get it,
Done.
yeah. I think you just have to accept there's some things that you can, like, impact and some things that you can win and some things that you can't, and there's just no don't make your life worse to make some statement that isn't going to have any type of real impact on
Yeah.
anything. There are tangible, real things you can do that can make things better in some way, but, like, taking a day off of Amazon symbolically is not gonna be that thing. It's
No,
just not,
you
you know?
but enjoy if you did, great.
Good for you.
So you guys are doing diapers and wipes, no cloth, no service.
No, no, no. We're just making a mountain of trash every
Yeah.
single day.
D
Yeah.
And just to be clear, it has been researched because I researched it, that the water and the soap that is used to clean the like, it's the net zero, basically, of
Totally.
impact
That's
on
the
the
thing, right? The
world.
electric cars that were gonna be the big thing, and they're like, "But now we're mining the lithium." There's no winning. There's no winning.
So enjoy and bring more kids into the world because we need them on it to solve our problems.
Truly.
You're the best. Thank you so much, Robbie. Everyone, if you get a chance to see Robbie live, do it. Also, he and his wife, Casey Balsham, perform together. What's the name of the show that you tour with currently? Because
How
you
to Make a Baby.
How to Make a Baby, and you go out around the country. Also in New York, you're actually doing a show together for me about a month on
Oh,
April
yeah.
2nd as a benefit. And again, just so you know, if one of you doesn't end up showing up, it's fine. That's how I book
Thank you.
shows now. That's
Yeah,
how I
that
book shows
I
now,
I
knowing.
I really appreciate that. I think audiences do too, where you're like, "Look, there might be a comedy show here tonight, but there might not."
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. Follow it. So go see him live and throw money at him because they're raising 2 kids, everybody, okay? And follow Robbie for stand-up and jokes and all kinds of great material on Instagram and TikTok at Robby Slowik, ROBBY SLOWIK. Thanks again so much.
Thank you, Afira.